From the 1011 Now streaming studio in Lincoln, Nebraska, this is the End Report Husker Show, sponsored by Fat Dog's Convenience Store.
Hi, everyone. Bill Rentschler alongside Sports Director Kevin Sjuts in the 1011 Now streaming studio. Another edition of the End Report Husker Show brought to you by Fat Dog's Convenience Store. Kevin, you mentioned this at the end of the 6 o'clock newscast tonight. But if you wanted to matriculate your way over to the 1011 Now website, go to the sports section. You could probably find some reading and some videos that you could spend the rest of the night watching.
Like no joke.
Going on not only today, but just the last 48 to 72 hours in Husker athletics.
It's National Signing Day, or the first day of the early signing period. We have lots of video of the new signees. 20 players ink with the Big Red today, including Kendall Lanier was down in Overland Park and got to talk to Dawson Merritt. He's one of the top players in this signing class, a 4-star that Matt Rhule says is a 5-star in his opinion. Got that interview. Kendall did a great job. It was cool to hear from him. Seems very mature.
Oh, yeah, very well spoken.
Then, of course, there's a number of in-state players, 6 in total. A couple from right here in our area. Jackson Carpenter of Lincoln Southwest. We talked to him today. Connor Booth. He had a signing ceremony up at Bishop Neumann High School in Wahoo.
Biscuits and gravy.
This morning. Oh, how about that? Quick side story. We're in the middle of the interview. I've never had this happen before. In the middle of the interview, and then the speaker comes on that goes across the entire school. And they give the school announcements. Can't really do an audio interview while that's happening. So we pause. And I got to hear about everything that's happening at Bishop Neumann High School. They even do the Pledge of the Allegiance.
Yep.
The Pledge of Allegiance over the loudspeaker. So we stopped in the mid-interview, faced the flag, hand over the heart. Found out that biscuits and gravy were on the menu at Bishop Neumann. So hopefully those kids ate pretty well today.
Yeah.
I would assume they did. And then there's a number of players from the Omaha area that we have video and interviews with. Christian Jones, one of the top linebackers nationally in this class. Pierce Newberry of Millard North. Caden Vermoss of Millard North. Tyson Terry, the very good wrestler from Omaha North. He's going to play football at Nebraska. He is a large man.
I didn't get to hear when I watched the video that our sister station WWT took. He was emotional today signing that letter of intent. He had some tears there up on the dais.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
So these guys join in. So that's recruiting and Nebraska's first day of the early signing period. Matt Rhule held a news conference. You can watch those 30 minutes with the head coach from earlier today on our website. And then Terrence Knighton departs from the program. DeKel Shorts, new assistant coach, announced this afternoon. And at that point, we're like, well, what else do we need to know? Kai Wallen hit the transfer portal. Ty Robinson accepts an invite to participate in the Senior Bowl. He also, by the way, plans to play in Nebraska's bowl game.
Yeah.
Heinrich Harburg is going to try out some new positions next year. John Butler will serve as Nebraska's defensive coordinator for the bowl game. Marcus Satterfield stays on staff. He's going to coach the tight ends. Just a lot of information consumed. That's just today.
Well, and Husker Volleyball.
Oh, yeah.
You have 5 first-team All-Big Ten players. You have Bergen Riley, Setter of the Year, Lexi Rodriguez, Libero of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year for them as well.
What's with that? Why did they change the name of the award from Defensive Player of the Year to Libero of the Year? What if you're a really good blocker?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, what if... And, I mean, all 6 of them are playing defense.
Like, if Nebraska brought back, let's say, Melissa Elmer, one of the best middle blockers in program history. If she was averaging, let's say, 12 blocks a match. I don't know what Melissa's numbers were, but she was really good.
That would be good for Defensive Player
so
of the Year.
you can't win the Defensive Player of the Year if you're a middle blocker now?
Maybe it's either, if they give it to Libero, it's the Libero of the Year, but if it's not, then it's the Defensive Player of the Year.
I just don't see the need to change.
We'll have to talk to Tony Petiti.
So, yeah, I don't understand that. And I also don't understand the amount of players that are on the All-Big Ten first team.
Did I see it was
24?
24. That's a lot.
I understand the league expanded, but that doesn't mean that the amount of players that are on the court at one time changes. It's just harder to become an all-conference selection, in my opinion, but that's not the way the Big Ten will do it. I'm guessing other conferences are probably that way as well.
Yeah, I think of those, again, 5, it was Andy Jackson, Harper Murray, Bergen Riley, Lexi Rodriguez, and Merritt Beeson. think it was Andy Jackson and Lexi Rodriguez were unanimous decisions, were all Big Ten. But so suffice it to say, there's a lot going on. So is there a thread in there that you want to pick at as we sit down here and talk?
Oh, man, Bill, you don't ask me. I actually had. No, I'm going to let you choose. This is a choose your own adventure, Bill.
Okay.
We're not going to have me make any decisions. We still have a lot of coverage to get to tonight at 10. I got decisions to make with that. Because how do you, out of everything we just listed, how do you condense that into 3 to 4 minutes?
You don't.
That's my big challenge tonight at 10.
I will have to tune in tonight to see how you do with that.
Remember the guy from Micro Machines? That the commercials where he talked like a mile a minute? He took it really, really fast.
Which at the end of the credit card commercials or at the end
of the
kind of
like
pharmacy
that.
Commercials?
Yeah. There's a guy who did commercials. Maybe I just need to write everything as I normally would, just speak insanely fast.
Double time.
Like a telemarketer or this Micro Machines guy.
Yeah. All right. We'll do it quick then. We'll stay a little bit of a 30,000-foot view. Favorite player from the recruiting class?
Well, my favorite player is Connor Booth, partly because we get to watch him on a regular basis being a running back at Bishop Neumann. And I was struck by the fact that Connor Booth said, no, he's coming to Nebraska to play running back. No fullback talk, running back. He believes he can get on the field. Like, this isn't like a courtesy invite to a local kid. No. He thinks he can play. And he's going to challenge Dante Dowdell and Emmett Johnson. Those players' names came out of his mouth, and he believes if he continues to work hard, he can see the field. So that's personally that's can't be the answer I really go with, though, just because I think everybody expected me to say Connor Booth to that question. Cortez Mills, Nebraska got him at the last second. The last second because he had an Oklahoma hat on his head at one point on National Signing Day. Then he took it off and he put on the Nebraska hoodie. He's a guy that's out of Florida, really fast, goes and gets the ball from the film that we've seen, and he's a playmaker on the edge. And Dana Holgerson is going to call plays all of next year. Not saying that Nebraska is devoid of playmakers, but Ja'Cory Barney Jr. was really good as a freshman. And for him to get some good young talent around him, I just think that Mills has a chance to be pretty special.
Like, if it's exciting enough to have Ja'Cory Barney on the field, try having 2 Ja'Cory Barneys on the field. And that's a little bit kind of what you get with Cortez Mills. Guy out of Florida, he's fast, a little bit taller than Ja'Cory.
For sure.
So then departure. We haven't necessarily listed the names yet. Again, you had Kai Wallen go in the transfer portal today. You have players like James Williams, Daniel Kalin, Jamari Butler, Prince Will Uman Miyellen. Maybe so far, at least, again, because there's going to be more. Biggest maybe loss in your eyes in the departure department?
For me, it's James Williams. He had 5 sacks this year. He was getting better. He got better all throughout remember last year when he had his first career sack. I remember sitting in the press box at Memorial Stadium and into my head thinking, who is that? Who's number? I legitimately did not know who number 90 was on the field.
Yeah.
And now he is one of the best pass rushers on the team. So his ascent has been pretty remarkable. And he's going to enter the transfer portal. That's one that I think for Nebraska's defense, it's going to hurt a little bit.
Stings.
Because they're going to have to find new pass rushers. And some of the guys that are leaving, they all kind of do the same thing. Princewell, James Williams, Jamari Butler, all really good off the edge. There have been, I don't even know what the number of players hitting the portal. We knew that there were going to be a lot of them, Bill, just because of the roster squeeze. Everybody needs to get down to 105.
10 so far in the portal.
What did Matt Rhule say today? Don't. We're going to be just fine.
Mm-hmm. He said.
So he's trying to calm the waters because right now, the portal officially opens on Monday. So now is the time that you're just seeing so much of it, and it can create panic across the fan base. But Matt Rhule's trying to say, we are going to have to trim our roster no matter what.
Mm-hmm. And some of these players have the option to come back. Well, they all have the option to come back. Who knows? They might. Again, Jamari Butler did that 2 years ago. I think he jumped in, then he came back. So some of them definitely hurt a little bit more than others.
When you said departures, I honestly thought that you were going to mention the coaches that departed too. That's what's crazy here is today is a day where players are added, and to Kel Shorts, the new receivers coach is added. Mm-hmm. There have also been a significant number of departures. So there is so much happening, and that's what's made this week incredibly crazy for Nebraska football.
Yep, and that was going to be basically my next lead-in is a Tony White. Again, you still haven't necessarily officially heard anything official out of Florida State on his hire, but his Twitter X handle bio has all been changed to Florida State stuff, and Matt Rhule addressed it today. He said, came to him on, I think it was Saturday or Sunday, and wanted to, family reasons, wanted to get back closer to family maybe, and that was the reason why he took that job. And it sounds like Terrence Knighton potentially going with him. So 2 losses there on the defensive coaching staff.
And it doesn't seem like Matt Rhule's in a hurry to hire a defensive coordinator. And he really, the big message that the coach had regarding that position is he wants to keep the defense the same. He doesn't want to bring in a guy that's going to overhaul the scheme. Matt Rhule likes the 3-3-5. He likes the multiplicity in which that defense played with. And I think he also knows that by keeping the system, it allows these guys to not have to relearn a system and maybe you lose a year of development. So it's pretty smart on Matt Rhule's part. So now he's got to try to find the right guy to run the scheme. And he's not going to rush it. And Nebraska's head coach seemed pretty confident that he can get a guy that can run an efficient 3-3-5.
He said, no timetable. Said he hired John Butler with the intent of him potentially taking over for Tony White, thinking, Tony White was going to leave here eventually for potentially a head coaching gig or another defensive coaching gig. And so John Butler will be the interim DC, and Matt Rhule did say he is a candidate to become the full-time DC, but we might find out in 2 days. We might find out in 2 or 3 weeks. We don't know when.
Yeah, no, by the way, they are in bowl practices now. Yep. Seems like a pretty light week of bowl practice. Tuesday, Thursday of this week. A lot of young guys getting action. The veterans pretty much get the week off. They're going to do some lifting. But the preparation will really kick in next week. The announcement's going to come on Sunday. Everything is trending toward the Pinstripe Bowl in New York City on December 28th. Again, we'll know that for sure on Sunday. So right now they can't even scheme for an opponent. They're practicing just to get reps, to try to get better, learn the system more, build more chemistry, all that fun stuff that happens with practicing. But yeah, one thing that really struck me, Bill, walking away from today was Nebraska is playing beyond the end of the regular season for the first time since 2016, and that's to be excited about. They added a nationally ranked recruiting class again, this one 18th, if I saw it correctly, and some very talented players, and that's something to get excited about.
Yeah.
Yet I felt like today being around the stadium, there was a little bit of a spirit that wasn't filled with excitement and joy. Instead, there's a little bit of tension and uncertainty, and Matt Rhule even used the word angst. Mm-hmm. That is shocking to me because there are 2 really big things happening today, December 4th, 2024. Nebraska's getting ready for a bowl game, and Nebraska is welcoming 20 talented players. Yet so much of the discourse is about who's leaving, who's going to coach, and what does the staff look like?
There's a lot of angst. Today,
2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, 22, 23. Like, those teams would have loved to still be going to practice. They didn't get that chance. This team does, yet the vibe just didn't really align with that. And so much of that is because of all the transactional things that have occurred this week.
It is exciting to see because Rhule even said it. There was no seniors that participated in practice, yesterday or will be tomorrow. It's basically all freshmen, all young guys. It sounds like the entire all 14 early enrollees from this class that signed today. It sounds like they're going on the bowl trip.
Oh yeah,
and so
isn't that something?
I mean, just think of that head start. I mean, it's a head start just to enroll early because you get to do spring practice, but now you get bowl practice. You get to go on a bowl trip. You get to learn who your teammates are. Like, you were just that much farther ahead going even into spring.
Oh, what'd you do to earn the bowl trip? Showed up, signed the paper. They're going to get the swag, Bill.
Yeah.
And they're going to get to go on the trip, and they get to be like, bowls are fun.
Yeah.
There's a lot of extra things that happen beyond football. And so what a start to a college career for some of these early enrollees that are literally, they might not even be moved in yet. I don't think that they will.
I doubt it.
They won't even be into the dorms.
They probably won't have their
Yet they're going to be into
yet.
the airplane, which takes them to the bowl destination.
And how about that? For your first Husker game, you are more than likely going to fly to New York City and play in Yankee Stadium, which, again, like, sneeze or sneer at the Pinstripe Bowl, it's not, super, high up on the list, but, like, again, it's a bowl. And, like, that's a pretty cool location to go to for a bowl game. And New York City, there's going to be a ton of stuff for them to do there.
I'd like to see them throw one of those freshmen on the field. Like just arrived freshmen.
Yeah.
Just to run down on kickoff. See what happens, right? Because you don't need to know a play to run on the kickoff team.
And hit a guy.
And more times than not, kickoff's going to be a touchback.
Yeah.
But to let their cleats like get into the dirt and to hear the whistle and like talk about somebody's heart racing out of their chest.
Yeah.
Got to make a good first impression.
Have you been to New York City, Kevin? Is that
Have I been there?
I know you probably never covered a football game there.
No, but I've covered the Heisman Trophy presentation.
That's right. 2009. Dominican
Yes.
Sue. All right, so maybe a return trip for you. Last thing I want to just get your thoughts on, Heinrich Harburg changing positions. Sounds like he's going to be a little bit of a Swiss Army knife for them. With, I guess, limited roster spots, probably pretty valuable to have a guy like that who can line up at tight end, maybe at running back, maybe at receiver, and also be your fourth-string quarterback.
This is where it gets really fascinating, the 105-player cap. How many quarterbacks are teams going to carry? Five, I think, is high. 4?
I think you got to have at least 4.
So if Nebraska has 4, let's just say Nebraska goes with 4 because they will have Dylan Raiola. TJ Lateef will be on the team then. Let's say they add somebody from the portal. Let's just 3, okay?
Yeah.
If they needed like that, this is where a player like Heinrich Harburg has incredible value.
Yeah.
Because you could slide him over if he plays tight end next year, receiver, outside linebacker. It doesn't matter. Like you could always slide him over, and it's just like baseball. You think of the utility players in baseball that can play middle infield, outfield, and occasionally catch. I mean,
you want those guys on your
every team wants a player like that.
Yeah.
Because you can just piece them into the lineup however, and you can give guys days off, or you can sub in following an injury so much more easily if you have a player that you can just plug and play wherever. So this is fascinating. I think my big question regarding Heinrich, which one, that's pretty awesome that Nebraska is going to do this, as opposed to just corner him into being a quarterback, and then he says, well, if I'm not going to play here, I'm going, right?
Yeah.
Because he wants to play.
And he's athletic enough, fast enough, strong enough that he can probably play a number of positions.
Oh, for sure. He could be a fullback,
Yeah.
Bill. I mean, there's a number of things that Heinrich Harburg could do. So good on Nebraska to, give him some of this flexibility. But I'm really curious, where will they put him?
I mean, I don't even know. Off the top of my head, I'd say tight end.
Yeah.
But that's
Tight end's my first guess, too.
a pretty full room for you.
But what if Nate Borkacher comes back and Thomas Fidoni's on the team next year? And Luke Lindenmeyer's back. And Carter Nelson moves up.
You go 5 wide with tight ends.
Well, some of those guys you might be able to.
5, 6.
And by the way, Dana Holgerson's the new full-time offensive
2-year
coordinator.
contract, $1.2 million a year, and he'll be getting a whole bunch of money from Houston in that time as well. Just like they have 6 quarterbacks on their roster right now, with Bodie
Suckup, and then
Luke
Jalen Grahamstad.
and Luke Longvall.
Okay.
So 6 down to 3, maybe 4. So we'll see. All right, there's a lot in that pile there. It's hard to keep it all straight.
Yeah. So again, we'll try to keep it as straight and organized as possible on the 10 o'clock news. Signing day, 20 players, a couple of really good 4-stars, Cortez Mills, Dawson Merritt, big names. Terrence Knighton is leaving. Tikel Schwartz is officially hired. John Butler is going to be the defensive coordinator for the bowl game. There you go.
And
those are your biggest headlines.
Yep.
So if you get the newspaper tomorrow, that's probably the stuff you're going to see at the top.
Yep. All right. So a lot to catch up on. Again, we said it at the very beginning. You could head on over to 1011, the website. You can get all the coverage that we've already done today, and then tune in tonight for the 10. You can be there all night long. Have something new. Rhule talked for 35 minutes today. So there's a lot there.
I honestly thought it'd be longer, just because there's so much. If it's a regular signing day press conference, you're probably looking at 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
But because there's the coaching news, the player departures, and then he opens the whole thing talking about the Iowa handshake.
Oh, yeah. He said he didn't know about it, not even until it was after the game. But
he didn't approve.
Did not approve. Sounds like maybe there was some angst amongst the players as they went to the midfield to try to do their team prayer before, and there's, I think Rhule said 7 state troopers there.
Yep.
So, but yeah. All right. Well, Kevin, appreciate your time. I know you've been busy lately, so really do appreciate it. Appreciate everyone for tuning in and watching. Keep it tuned to 1011 for all of your latest Husker headlines. So until next time, hope everyone has a nice Wednesday night.
You've been listening to the Report Husker Show, sponsored by Fat Dog's Convenience Store. Watch, listen, and stream on the 1011 Now app, on YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. For more Husker coverage throughout the week, watch the Report on 1011 Sports at 6 and 10 p.m. and download the 1011 Now app.